lots about the OBS trucks, but the truth is we love them all. And so my dad has a 2017 GMC regular cab short box that's behind me, and one day he was tinkering in the garage trying to get the factory phone charger to work in the center console. And what we found was that the amperage is actually too low to charge newer style phones, as well as if you have a little bit bigger phone, phones are getting quite big, they don't even fit in that slot anymore. And so we went ahead and have designed from scratch a replacement to replace that factory unit with something that's actually going to charge your phone, looks good, and we've designed a ton of different prototypes trying to get this thing right. And so today we're going to show you everything we've designed, how to install it, and how it works. Note that the center console in this truck wasn't stock, right? These trucks didn't come with center consoles, so this was put in after the fact. If you guys are interested in picking one of these up, we'll leave a link in our description of this video. We've only made about 20 of them. As of right now, it's pretty limited quantities. So for this install, you're gonna need a pry tool, a T15 screwdriver or bit, some wire cutters for a crimp connection and to cut a couple wires, 2.5mm screwdriver for 2 M3 bolts, and then a 10mm wrench or socket, and then a torch or a lighter for the shrink tube. That's what you need to install this thing. You don't need much, and it should only take you an hour to install. Let's get started. So what you get in the box is you get a housing plate, the new charging mat, and this is a non-slip mat, and then the hardware. We've got the actual phone charger, a step down, so this is basically stepping down the 12 volt coming out of the factory harness to something that a 9 volt that is going to charge this without any issues or it overheating, etc. And then we have some hardware. We have 2 crimp connectors, a bolt, and a plate, and then a bushing. This bushing you're gonna use depending on how you wanna mount the actual charger. And then we have a couple little screws for the faceplate cover. So we'll jump in the truck, we'll disassemble the old one, and then we'll get installing this new system. Okay, so first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna just pop up the lid, and there's just a bunch of clips holding this guy on. So you're just gonna grab your pry tool and start prying that off, just like that. This pops off, and this exposes the old phone system. Now you can see we've actually cut our connector because this is the truck we were prototyping on. But basically there's 3 wires. There is a black wire, that's your ground. There's a purple wire with a yellow stripe, that's your power. And then this green wire, we've got a little more testing to do, but we believe this wire will also go to power. That is to tell you if the phone is charging, and that's what that green wire is for. So we're just hooking up these 2 wires because there is no connection to the stereo in this truck. Before you start cutting wires, guys, make sure you've disconnected your battery. You know, safety first here, but you're gonna take that T15 hex, and there's 4 bolts on this module. So we're just gonna take those off. Okay, so that pops off. You guys can disconnect yours. Obviously your guys's will still be connected here. With the battery disconnected, you can cut this off, and this is no longer any use to you. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more T15 screws, and that's holding this bezel on. So we'll get at those. Okay, so when that's done, you can pop this guy off, and this little rubber mat comes out. So then you're gonna grab your charger, and this mounts just like that inside. So once you put the bezel on, there's 2 ways to do this. The first way is from factory, just like that, and then your phone will just sit right in here. Now, if you have a wider phone, what you can do is you can reverse the order of this. You can put the bezel on first, and then put this over top, and look how much more room you have side to side. you can have a pretty massive phone on here and it still looks really good. So now we're just gonna flip this up and I'm just gonna put in a couple of the T15 screws around that bezel just to keep things from sliding around. Keep in mind that this isn't yet anchored down. That's just kind of floating there. Then you're gonna take your housing, this guy here, and this just mounts like that. So I'll put those couple screws in. Now that that's installed, what you guys would do is you would cut the harness. Again, red goes with purple and yellow, and black goes with black. And again, black is ground, red is power. That little green one, again, we need to do a little more testing to figure out if that needs to tie in with the power or the ground for the factory indicator to see whether your phone is charging, but we'll have another video covering that down the road here. So what you're gonna do is snip off your harness. You include 2 crimps. So you'll crimp one end and crimp the other end. And then you'll just heat shrink with the lighter or the torch to shrink everything up there. And that's all you're gonna do for those 2 things. So this guy, there's enough clearance here underneath. You can just tuck this in before hooking this guy up. And then once you've fed this wire through, and there's a little clip here to push that wire into, and then you can hook these guys up. Okay, so for us, because this was a prototype truck, we have everything with these quick connects. Red and red, black and black. So before you shrink heat and crimp these connections, make sure the factory wiring harness has come up through the housing. Now you're just gonna plug in the USB to USB. And now for the fun part, this stuff will just fit in here. What will make it easier is if you take one of the little screws and washers and the faceplate, and you can just get one side started, and that will help kind of contain everything as you push it all together. So we'll just start threading that in. So then you can start just pushing all this stuff in. Try to keep the screw hole clear because you're gonna have to screw a bolt into that. So just kind of push everything in there, close it up. Might also help if you put a little bit of tape on this side just to hold it in place while you're installing everything. And so for this bushing, if you have the charger sitting outside the bezel, you're not gonna need this bushing. But if you have it underneath, that extra clearance will require you to put this bushing around the screw so it snugs up nice. But for us, since we're going outside, all we gotta do is feed this bolt in, holding the mount from the back end. Okay, so that's getting snug. And now I'm gonna grab the wrench. I'm just gonna snug this up. So I'm just gonna snug these up. Got everything hooked up. We're just gonna get the remainder few screws holding that bezel down. Making sure again your wire's mounted, it's tucked away. Then this guy just slips back on. This wire kind of tucks against the side here. Put all your clips in, just like that. So now with the truck on, see we got power, and this guy just boom charges. So there's pretty good travel for this. So this is charging right now. It can come back quite far, and it can come up to about here. But with that slip mat, it really makes it nice and secure. And this will charge all the new style phones, no problem, it looks good. And then with that little bit of 3M we put on here, should keep things from getting all scratched up and beat up. But it's a nice little touch to actually make this functional. For you guys that have the cutout, but there wasn't a factory charger, what you can do with this kit is actually just go right from the USB through here right into one of these USB slots inside the console. So if you guys have the cutout but don't have factory charging, we can get you charging from that center console. With this same kit, you're just not tying into that harness. You're going straight from the USB right into one of these charging ports. Let me know what you think of the kit. I think it works really good. I know we've been doing a lot of old Ford stuff, but when projects come up, they need to be attended to. So we'll see you in the next one.